warm welcome to all of you, and it's especially nice to see our student aspirants here with us today as well. My name is Neeraja, and I teach as part of the English program here at Azim Premji University. I also want to introduce Jayant, who teaches in our physics program, and both of us serve as the program coordinators for the undergraduate program. My sort of task right now is to just take you through our program structure, just to give you a sense of what someone's life looks like, from an academic point of view over the 4 years that you'll spend here. And I'll maybe start with a very brief history of the undergraduate program. So Rajgopal took you through our journey, as a university, but I thought that it might be nice for us to just look at where we started with the undergraduate program. We began with our first batch in the year 2015. You will see here that our first cohort of graduates, we have now grown significantly in size. We now have, nearly 4 times that number. We used to operate out of a small satellite campus. We began classes on this campus in 2021. And in 2023, that's this year we welcomed, it's a very special moment for us, we welcomed our first batch of students who are going to be doing a 4-year undergraduate program. Prior to this, students graduated at the end of 3 years. This is also important, as a sort of a, picture for you, because the 4-year program came out of our experience of running, an undergraduate program for 3 years, since 2015. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah, so this is something you've already seen. I'll just give you a moment to take a look at this. Rajgopal had this information as well. I would urge you to take a look at individual program pages for each of these programs. This information is available on our website. I also want to say at this point that many of you may have questions which are in some sense broadly linked to the undergraduate program. Questions about what students do. I know there were questions about the kind of research that students undertake. I know that there are questions about what faculty in some sense imagine that students can do at the end of this period, and also what our students have done. I'd like to urge you all to ask questions about these programs specifically and outcomes at the end of these programs when you have a chance to interact with faculty from each of these programs. Okay, so here is, one kind of take on why Azim Premji University, right? I know that there were some questions about this already. We have a host of very accomplished faculty. Again, I urge you to go to our program pages, to visit profiles of faculty, take a look at the kind of work they do, and take a look at the journey they've had before they've come to Azim Premji University. One thing that I think is very special about our program is that we have very small classes. What that means is that for us, it's very much a course of life here, that faculty get to know students very well. They get to know them individually, and there is a lot of very close interaction in that educational environment of the classroom. We have a very flexible and, in some sense, a curriculum that has a focus on a disciplinary major, of course, but also components that in some sense allow you to explore avenues and disciplines outside of that major, because it can be something that can pose a lot of confusion. Sometimes a lot of choice can be actually very crippling. So we have a lot of support in terms of academic advising, a lot of help that we offer students to help navigate the kind of choices that they have offered to them in the program. And I'll speak a little more about choices later on, but for now I think this is something to really keep in mind. Okay, so this is another, I think, very special aspect of our program. It is a fully residential program. What does that really mean, to say that it's a fully residential program? As my colleagues, Alok and Alok will speak to you about residential life here on campus. But really what the residential program or the residential nature of the program allows a student to experience is to be able to be part of a community of peers that are very diverse, and it allows you in some sense to really live with that community, inhabit a very vibrant space outside the class. In the evenings, we have a host of student-run clubs, a range of activities the students can, in some sense, run on their own and really take initiative for. And so there is a lot of opportunity for growth, and that is fostered in some sense here outside the classroom as well. We are all, as educators, very aware, and we acknowledge the fact that it can be a very difficult transition for young people to make from school to college, and we have several support systems that allow students to make this transition in the best possible way. And one of the important aspects of that system of structure is, or support, is the mentoring system. So we have faculty mentors who in some sense offer a lot of personal guidance for students through their time here in the program. Okay, so we'll come to the program structure now. I'll go through each of these components one by one, so you can just take a look. These are the kind of broad categories into which all of the courses that you take in the program have been divided, right? And each of these categories have a purpose, a reason why they're there. And I'll talk about them a little bit. Shall we talk about the common curriculum? The next slide. Yeah, so common curriculum courses, as the name would suggest to you immediately, is common to all students irrespective of their major. So it's a set of courses that all students will sit together for in classes. It's an opportunity to meet students from other majors. They are courses that instill foundational capacities that we think really prepare someone well for an undergraduate program, and for our undergraduate program specifically. An indicative set of courses are also here on this slide. So just as an example, for instance, critical reading and writing are a set of courses that really kind of give you the capacities for communication, the capacities for critical thinking that you need in some sense at the start of your college journey. We also have an exciting set of courses called Understanding India, which ground you in some senses our contemporary moment and take you through a kind of multidisciplinary perspective of challenges and problems, and in some sense also a historical sense for what it means to belong as a citizen. We'll also have a very exciting presentation soon where you can know more about our creative expressions courses. It's a very exciting part of our common curriculum as well. And I'll speak now about the minor in the occupational track. So over the course of this presentation, you will hear the term minor a couple of times. The minor in the occupational track is something that all students who are a part of the program are going to end up graduating with, right? So the program structure is such that when you graduate, everybody graduates with a certain choice of occupational track. This set of courses has been visualized as something that prepares you for capacities you might need in a certain kind of field that you could end up working in. I'll give you a list of options so that you have a sense for how we have visualized these fields that we're thinking of as occupational tracks. These are courses that, in some senses build perspectives, they build specific skills. All these tracks will also feature at least one course that allows students to engage in some kind of field site, right? So you will engage in a field site in some way in any one of these choices. Students have to choose from any one of these options, and these are an indicative list of options just so you get a sense for what kind of courses are in this track. Alright, so we also have a set of credits as part of the undergraduate program structure that are dedicated to something called flexible credits, right? They're called flexible credits. What do they mean? They mean that over a period of 4 years here, you can choose to distribute these 7 courses in a number of ways, right? You can basically craft your educational experience outside of the major that you choose, outside of the occupational minor as well. You can choose to use these flexible credits in certain kinds of ways. One way that you can use them is to take additional electives in your major that could lead to, say, further specialization in a field of study that you've chosen. One sort of very, I think, from what we've seen in the first year, one very sort of popular choice is to be able to choose a minor in another discipline. what are the minors that you can take out of your flexible credits? Any other major that is on offer, other than the one that you have enrolled for, can in some sense be chosen as your minor, right? So if you've taken a BA in English, then you can choose to do a minor in any of the other subjects that are on offer. And the other sort of, likely way of using flexible credits is that if you feel like there is a scope for you to take courses which will improve and enhance your reading and writing capacities as well. Okay, so the research and internship is something that we have planned for our 7th semester, right? So in your 4th year, you're likely to be able to choose between a research or an internship track. Please do speak to the faculty when you interact with them in each of the majors about the kinds of projects that students have done, what are the kind of research that they undertake. The way that we have looked at our internship track is as an opportunity to gain some hands-on work experience, and you can choose to do this kind of internship either in a subject that's either related to your major, or you can also choose to take up an internship in the occupational track that you have chosen. Okay, now some of you may know that the NEP allows for exit points, and I just wanted to speak a little bit about that just in case there are questions about how we look at these exit points. Here at Azim Premji University, we really encourage all of our students to stay for the entire duration of 4 years. So this is not necessarily to tell you that you can exit whenever you want to, but in some sense, it's to give you a sense for how we are imagining each of these exit points and what the capacities are that you gain at each of these exit points. We would like our students to remain with us through the entire duration of 4 years. But these are some of the skills and capacities that you can hope in some sense to achieve at each of these points. So yeah, it's not as if you'll be acquiring 4 degrees at the end of it, but in some sense it's to give you a sense of how where you will be at each point in the program. So that's all I have in terms of the program structure, and I think I'll pass it on to Evan now, who will speak to us about the CRX course offerings. If you remember, that's something that's part of our common curriculum, very exciting part of our common curriculum. So Evan will speak about that now. Yeah, thanks everyone.